Hey everybody, welcome to my Ethos Overdrive demo. You are probably considering purchasing one of these, and since you likely don't get a chance to play one for yourself before laying down that much money, you're looking for videos. It is a good chunk of money for an overdrive pedal, but I've got to say there are a couple of things about this pedal that make it much more than your typical overdrive pedal. Those two things are one, it's got a clean channel, a really nice clean channel that is a big selling point for me, and I use a lot. The second point is that it's got a speaker sim out as well as the regular out to your amp. So you can drive a PA with this, and in fact the recording that I'm making today is using the speaker sim out into GarageBand, and that's where all the audio is coming from. So it sounds very impressive plugged straight into a computer or straight into a PA. So I'm going to run you through a few of the features, and since we're talking about going into a PA, I'll actually start on the side here. There's a toggle switch on the side here, and it's called a GAC switch, guitar amp compensation. So when it's up, the EQ is tailored to application into a guitar amp, and when it's down, it's more of a full range EQ that is really suitable for going into a PA or direct into a board and into a recording console, whatever you've got going on. And again, I'm using that in the down position, so the guitar amp compensation is disengaged for our uses today. Also on the side here, there's a global control for the presence or brightness, so high frequency control. Also incredibly useful depending on what amp I'm plugging into or what the sound of the room is. That always needs a little tweaking. How big the band is, whether the guitar is cutting through or not. So let's go to the front where all the main action is. I was really sold on having a clean channel in a pedal because I play through a Henriksen jazz amp with a couple of 12-inch cabinets, and it's a very warm amp, kind of a polytone sound, if you will, maybe a little cleaner, and it doesn't have that sparkly kind of Fender sound at all. And once in a while I need that kind of thing. This gives me a much closer facsimile of that than the amp can possibly do on its own, and that's by using the clean channel. We hit the channel select here, that gets me into the clean channel with the green LED. And we've got a gain, which is just a volume function. Really, this channel doesn't overdrive. We've got the three toggle switches, bright, on or off for bright. And then modern or classic sound, I just always leave it in modern, although this is a subtle one. Rock or jazz. This toggle switch seems to attenuate the signal a lot. If you put it into jazz mode, the whole volume drops a bunch, and I'll generally have to crank the gain quite a bit just to get back the volume that I had before. It also seems to re-EQ the channel a bunch, but I really haven't spent any time playing in the jazz setting. And then, our standard set of tone controls here: treble, middle, bass, and presence. Very simple. So this indicates that when the pedal will be turned on, I will be in the clean channel. To activate the pedal, I go here. When the pedal's taken out of action, we're still running through a buffer, so it's not a true bypass, and the description on the pedal from the website indicates that that's the preferred mode, and it certainly isn't a total non-issue for me. It works great this way. I never feel like I'm losing something from my guitar signal going to my amp. Okay, the distortion channel, or the overdrive channel. So again, all the same layout that we have in the bottom channel, with the addition of a volume control on the far right. So that is essentially your master volume, whereas this gain is actually feeding the gain into the overdrive stage. So obviously you turn it up, you get more overdrive. Simple. All the other switches and controls are the same as the previous channel. So that's two sounds. We've got a clean sound, we've got a dirty sound, and then finally we've got the boost switch. And when you engage the boost switch, essentially what you're doing is pulling the attenuation of the middle frequencies through these tone controls. You're pulling that out of the circuit. So it's letting a bunch more of the mid-range sound of your guitar pass into the overdrive phase. So in essence, the sound beefs up a bunch and also gets quite a bit harder driven. If you have this set up maxed out here, then with the boost disengaged, and then you engage the boost, you really won't notice a difference because you've achieved the same thing by opening these up all the way. But assuming you're doing some attenuation of that frequency range using these controls, then when you engage the boost and pulling these out of the circuit, you're going to get a much juicier, fatter, and more driven sound. So I find this incredibly useful when I want to switch from a moderate overdrive, and that'll often be for me using the neck pickup or a combination of the neck and the bridge pickup. I'll engage the boost when I want a heavier drive sound, and that'll pretty much exclusively be in conjunction with the bridge pickup. So there you go. That's the pedal. It's a beautiful piece of work. I love the sound of it. I love it in direct applications, and I absolutely love it on gigs through my amps. Works great, and essentially what it's done is taken my one sound single channel amp turned it into an amp with 4 sounds. I've got 3 additional sounds by using this pedal. So I've got 4 sounds to pick from, and it couldn't be easier. And then everything's still laid out, easy to tweak, super easy to tweak, and my option of going direct, which is really wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to play and show you the setting changes as I go through a bunch of choruses of a Little Wing backing track that I whipped up in GarageBand. break it.